Today's video is about assets you should not place in your living trust. Now, before we get started, we've done a video before on revocable living trusts and why those are so valuable. Check that out in the description below if you have not yet seen it. Today's video, however, is digging into what assets we do not want to place in our revocable living trust. Okay, number one is going to be vehicles. Now, by vehicles, this can be cars, trucks, boats, even some small equipment. The reason for not wanting to put vehicles in your living trust, there's actually a few different reasons. So, number one is going to be that vehicles are actually quite easy to transfer out and outside of a probate scenario. So, we're going to be looking at this in all our examples as assets that don't have to go through probate. That is going to be the type of assets we want to leave outside of our living trust. So, for example, with a vehicle, it's actually very easy to title that over to a beneficiary. So, states, during the title process, a lot of times we'll actually have a beneficiary already listed, or in your will or trust, if the instructions list a beneficiary, then a lot of times all you need is a death certificate, and you can get with the DMV and retitle the vehicle very easily. Okay, the second reason, and maybe the most important, is going to be liability issues. This is especially important, if there, let's say, was an accident in the vehicle, and now your trust is named as the owner of this vehicle. Well, the plaintiff in a court case, they are going to see that the trust is the owner, and all of a sudden now your trust can be a defendant in a court case. And so that can open up a can of worms that you don't want to have. So that's a big reason why I would suggest leaving the vehicles in your own name and outside of the trust. And another reason that I'd like to mention is going to be insurance issues. This is really just something where insurance companies oftentimes, this is going to add a layer of complexity, and it's going to create more of a headache having to try and show the insurance company what they need, seeing that the trust is the owner. And so that just adds a lot of complexity. So these are going to be the reasons why we want to keep vehicles outside of your living trust. Okay, the next asset type is going to be annuities, 401ks, and IRAs. So these type of retirement accounts are really trust accounts already in nature. So whenever you create these accounts, you name a beneficiary immediately. So a lot of times when if I were creating an IRA, I have to name a beneficiary. So I'll name, say, my wife as the beneficiary. So if I were to pass away, then my wife is inheriting the IRA account. I can also name my trust as the co-beneficiary. So then, if both of us had passed away, the trust then inherits that account, and then it can be kind of wrapped up in the estate. Now, the reason I wouldn't want to change over the IRA from my name and have the trust as the owner is because that could potentially create a distribution. And then you're dealing potentially with taxable consequences of an early distribution. And that's obviously not the intent there. So, again, when it comes to these types of retirement accounts, we really just want to have the trust named as a beneficiary of some type. Okay. Now, the next and final asset type that we don't want to see in a living trust are life insurance policies. And this is, again, very similar to the other types we've discussed. The reason we don't want to see life insurance policies in your living trust is, again, because these can bypass probate, much easier to transfer to a beneficiary, as that beneficiary is generally named when you've created your life insurance policy. So, for example, again, if I were to pass away, my wife could be the beneficiary of the life insurance policy. If we both passed away, though, then I can have the trust as a contingent beneficiary. So then those life insurance proceeds ultimately go into the trust, and they're part of that estate plan in that way. But it's much easier to leave that outside of the trust initially, and then again, just have them listed as the beneficiary. So I hope today's video was helpful to give you an idea of some assets that are not necessarily needed to be added to your trust. If you found today's video helpful, please give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and consider subscribing to our channel. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.